Hello, 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 and welcome to another Bad Seed Bryden video. This time the video is a first in as much as it's a request. I was asked about the procedure for applying for a visa, so I thought let's do a video on that. This is a massive caveat though at the beginning, okay? All I can advise on is applying for a retirement visa. So there are numerous types of TS visas you can apply for. The retirement one comes under the visa category, but there's also student, family, just work if you're going to work for a company, entrepreneur. How many is that? I think I'm forgetting one, but you get the idea. So all I can speak about is the retirement, which comes classed as inactive, which is a visitor VLS-TS visa. Clear? And I think one of the things that freaks people out the most about applying for their visa is which visa to apply for. So today all I'm going to talk about is applying for a VLS-TS, title of séjour, long stay visa. This is a visa for people who intend to settle in France. You are saying that you are going to stay in France for longer than a year. A VLS-TS visa is renewable, as opposed to a VLS-T visa, which is for a 6-month duration, and I believe you can apply for it once and then it's not renewable. So, you know, the first job I had out of school was working in a travel agents, and I spent half the week working in travel agents, and the other half of the week I was a visa courier. This is a long time ago. I used to have a red bus Rover to get me around London, and what I used to do was visit all the consulates, dropping off freight documents and depositing and collecting people's passports for visas. Loved it. 17 years old, all over London. That's another story. But the world's moved on. So for my visa application, I didn't go to the French consulate. The French visa applications are now all handled by a private company called TLS Contact. And what I will do in the description of the video is add the links for the 2 websites you would use to apply for a VLS-TS visa. I want to emphasize that because that's all I think I'm qualified to speak about. So if you are planning in retiring or settling in France, there are 4 things you need to document to the French government. So the first is that you have an address. Then you need to evidence that you can support yourself and you've got funds for your stay. The third thing is medical health insurance, and it's not to be confused with holiday insurance. This needs to be private health insurance. And then the fourth thing, and this is my favorite, if you're applying for an inactive visa, because you can apply for a long stay in France as employed, as self-employed, as salaried, as student, but if you're applying as inactive, as retired, the same as I am, the fourth thing you require is a letter to the French government promising not to pursue professional activities or work. Okay, so number one, the address. You may already have a holiday home that you're planning on making a permanent home, in which case, quelle surprise, that's going to be the address you're going to use. You're going to be listing your permanent residence. Alternatively, you might not have an address in France, in which case the option a lot of people take is to get a rental agreement. And the French are kind of funny the way they do rentals. It's not like the UK. I don't know how it compares to where you're watching this from. In the UK, you would normally tie yourself in to a year agreement. The French seem to favour 3-month contracts. I suggested to the person I'm renting with that I wanted a 6-month, and that was kind of poo-pooed, and they said, look, we'll have a 3-month contract and we'll both have the right to extend it. So a 3-month rental agreement is sufficient, but what you will need to do is to have a copy of your rental agreement to evidence that is in place, and it will need to include such things as the date from when it starts, how long it's running for, how much you're paying for it. Mine had the signature of the landlord, and I think that's imperative. Number two is the big one, money, how you are going to support yourself in France. So for me, it was the proceeds of a house sale, and what I was asked to present were the last 3 months bank statements. And if I'm honest, if you look at my bank account, hope you're not, then you'll see month 1 X amount, month 2 X amount, month 3 Z amount, plus the proceeds of a house sale. And that was what I had to wait for before I could start using those bank statements as sufficient evidence. And what the French are looking for you to document is that you have greater than the French minimum cost of living, the minimum French wage, which I think for a single person is about 18,000 euros, and for a couple it's about 30,000 euros. So you need to evidence them that for every year of your stay you have that. And I'll be honest, what I intend to do, I have a bank account with Credit Agricole, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to deposit 18,000 euros into that account and then leave it. It will gather the statutory interest all year, and then at my next visa renewal, I can the French will ask for all my financial information, French or overseas, and I will be saying, okay, look, here's money going out of this account, and here's my 18,000 still in this account. It hasn't been touched. I'm trying to show that I'm financially soluble. Number 3, as we said, is your health cover. Obviously the French don't want you to be a drain on the state, so you have to evidence that you've got a health plan coverage. It can't be something as inadequate as your holiday travel insurance. You need a health plan. I'm not going to make any recommendations other than to say I ended up going with a company called FAB, F-A-B Insurance. I think my cover for the year was about £1,700, but that covers me for repatriation to home country in case of something very serious occurring. So in fact, I'm just looking at my cover here. So what it states is €100,000 for medical, surgical, pharmaceutical and hospital fees incurred abroad. Repatriation in the event of an illness, accident or death, the actual cost. Legal aid or legal fees up to €20,000, and then private liability €1.5 million. Okay, and then the 4th piece on that checklist is the declaration not to work. So I'll read you mine. So I gave it the header, declaration not to work. To whom it may concern, I, Bad Seed Brighton, promise not to work or engage in professional activity whilst residing in France. Signed, Bad Seed Brighton, dated. There is so much misinformation out there. I was told completely conflicting evidence. It must be handwritten. Somebody else told me it must be typed. So on mine, I hand wrote it on one side and typed it on the other. I spoke to the person at TLS and they said it's not a thing. It doesn't make any difference. So either is good. I suppose typing it is easiest. I've made a mistake. There's 5 things you need. 2 passport photos are the other thing. And I don't know if this is a TLS Contact scam or what it is. There's lots of anecdotal evidence, people saying on arrival at the centre they are asked to have new photos taken because the photos they've provided appear to be too old. And whilst I was waiting to be seen, I did witness a lot of people having their photos taken. Mine were probably taken a couple of weeks before my appointment, and you know what, when I entered nobody even looked at mine. The actual application procedure itself, so your first stop is the French government website, and again there's a link to that in the description of this video, and you will go through the step-by-step question answering. It asks you first of all a series of questions to determine whether or not you need a visa, and then you go in and you apply for the type of visa you need. I'm not going to talk through the actual questions on the form. because what I don't want to happen is to be responsible if you have any errors with your application. I don't want you blaming me for giving you wrong information. What I would say though, there are a lot of forums on social media to assist you with your application. One I used via Facebook was living in France after Brexit. There's another one, applying for a carte séjour. Both really, really useful. Maybe I'll see if I can put links up to those as well. But once you've completed the French government application, you then open up the website for TLS Contact. You put in your reference number, you answer the questions there, and then start searching for an appointment. In the UK, there are 3 centres, one in Edinburgh, one in Manchester, one in London. I attended the one in London. Again, lots of conflicting anecdotal evidence. There were people saying in August there are no available appointments in 2025. I went on and was able to secure an appointment very, very easily. In fact, too easily. My appointment came up before I had the funds in the bank, and I had to amend it. So I amended it, and that date was approaching. I still didn't have the funds in the bank. I tried to amend it again and learned you can only amend the date of your appointment once. If you need to change it after that, you need to cancel your appointment and book a new one. Once you've done that, you then go back to the French website and it will talk you through it, and you confirm with them that you have obtained an appointment with TLS. On the day of the appointment, I made my way to Wandsworth, which is where the TLS Centre is in London. There's airport type security as you go into the building, so it's remove your belt, don't take a large bag, x-ray screening, all that sort of thing. I was really surprised they don't just do applications for France. It's Germany, Belgium, Switzerland. It's an incredible building, enormous number of staff. You then go in, you queue. There's a lot of queuing, and your initial paperwork is looked at, and if that passes muster, you then go and queue to actually be seen, where someone will review your documentation. We should mention costs. So I think the cost of my appointment was £46. I took a standard appointment. That they do offer a couple of alternatives. Mine was lunchtime on a working day. You can request weekend appointments. You can request out of hours early morning appointments, and I think for £100 you can request the premium lounge, which, to be honest, I can't see the point of. I think it takes you out of the mass queue. I think you can with that amend your appointment more than once, but you know what, if you've got your ducks lined up, I don't see why anyone would really need that. So yeah, my appointment was £46, and then the cost of my visa was £85 for the year. When your documentation is being reviewed, one of the things they will ask you to confirm is your intended date of entry into the country. And I think I said I was going to enter the country about a month after my appointment date, because, again, conflicting anecdotal evidence, people say, oh, it takes 6 weeks to get your outcome. I actually had my appointment on the 1st of September. I received an email yesterday saying my passport is ready for collection. Holy moly. So I'm going to Wandsworth tomorrow to collect my visa. What the email doesn't tell you is whether your application has been successful or declined, which is just a French tease. So I'm going to leave it here, and I think that's where we're going to pick up tomorrow. So here I am back at Wandsworth Town, TLS Contact, to collect my passport. The bad news is it's raining again, but the good news is my visa's approved. That's another tick in the box. Very straightforward. It's an enormous set of buildings, and there's one that's clearly marked passport return. I was in and out in 2 minutes. Bon voyage. So, visa gratefully received. I'm now in salubrious digs, killing time until the end of the month when I can jump on a ferry and get to my rental accommodation, where I'll be until the property purchase completes. I hope the information I've discussed is useful to anyone, but obviously if you're doing anything like this, check, verify and check again. You don't want to be wasting your own time and money. I think I'm going to call it there. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, and if you want to buy me a coffee, you can do that too. Thanks for watching. Have a great week.